Yes, good afternoon, students. So we'll get started. So only we'll see in today's class we'll see about the digital cellular telephone architecture and the ISDN. So that is the end of first unit. Then we'll have a practice quiz in Kahoot app. So well, we all know that this is Jesse Eugene Russell, who is the inventor of digital cell phone. Okay, so he was one of the employees of the Bell Laboratories. He has invented the digital cellular telephone in the year 1988. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on to the digital cell phone architecture. So the cellular phones are equipped with DSPs, that is the digital signal processors. So as we are going to work on the voice signals as well as some of the advanced cell phones, digital cellular telephones are used for sending the what is that image signals as well as the data information. We are making use of the digital signal processor chip. People have started to annotate. Okay. And this digital calls, the function of this DSP chip is to compress the speech to fit many. Okay. So this digital calls in the same amount of radio spectrum is previously used, and that is required for, it uses the same frequency of spectrum which is being used for the analog calls. So this RF section, that is the radio frequency section, contains the transmitter and receiver circuits, including the mixers, the local oscillators, and low noise amplifiers, and the transmitter power amplifiers. So these are the components of a digital cellular telephone. So the baseband section consists of so we have two sections. The first one is the RF section and the second one is the baseband section. So these are the components of the RF section, and in the baseband section we'll be having the vocoder, that is the voice coder, that is codec. It is going to be the analog to digital converter and digital to analog converter, and along with that we'll be having the DSP chip that handles many processing functions typically performed by analog circuits in older systems. So on for example, today most baseband and intermediate frequency filtering is done digitally, as our modulation and demodulation and mixing is done here. So coming to the detailed architecture of digital cellular telephone, an embedded controller will be there that handles the digital control and signaling handoff. So we have discussed about handoff. So what is handoff here? Can anyone tell? What is the definition of handoff? What is handoff? Can anyone tell? Or you can post your answers in the chat box. Yes.
Transferring data from one channel to another channel.
Yes, switching, not transferring data, switching from to. So we might have been registered. Well, thank you, Morgan sir. It is closer to the correct answer. Very good. Switching from, Venkateshwar has given in the chat box, as well as Dharani has given in the chat box, and Rutvika. The process of transferring the active call, that is having the signal, weaker signal, switching from weaker cell to the stronger cell is handoff. Okay, very good. That's the answer. It's an important terminology that is related to cellular telephone, handoff and frequency reuse. Okay, so all these things will be controlled by embedded controller. So it also takes care of running the display, the keyboard, and the caller identification, number storage, and all other factors will be taken care of by this embedded controller. So this embedded controller is going to be a simple microcontroller. Okay. So because of the complexity of the baseband and other control functions, this embedded controller is usually very fast. It is more than 100 megahertz. So the operating frequency of the microprocessor, that is 32-bit microprocessor, is used, and the operating frequency would be 100 megahertz. So with considerable RAM, ROM facilities as well as the flash memories. So well, we all know that what is the functionality of RAM, ROM and the flash memories. So I'm not going to discuss that here. Okay. So coming to the separate DSP chip, so it handles the signal processing duties. which means that, so some kind of filtering methodology will be there, and whatever filters that is unwanted noise or any other what is that, some kind of speckle noise or Gaussian noise, some kind of noises might be added in the voice signals. As well as if we are using advanced cellular telephones, some kinds of noises might be added whenever the signals are being traveling in the wireless medium. Okay, so that has to be removed. Okay, and also some kind of DSP techniques are used for boosting up the strength of the signal, as well as for what is that, compression purposes. So as I told you already, the compression process is nothing but you are applying some kind of transforms. Okay, so that is what you are learning in here in your DSP subject, digital signal processing subject. Okay, so it is very, very important subject. It's a core subject here as far as EC is concerned. So everywhere, so whatever we use the electronic equipment, this related to voice, the data, as well as image processing, this DSP comes into picture. So this the cellular, the telephone which we are using at our home, that is which you are using in our day-to-day life, it has all the features. Your antenna is here, so that you can talk about the antenna applications, you can talk about DSP applications, you have the embedded processor here, embedded controller here, all the features are being inbuilt there in the digital cellular telephone architecture. Okay, so this DSP chip handles the signal processing functionalities. So coming to the next one, so this is the block diagram of the 2G digital cell phone. This is the 2G, the cell phone that is being used for the second generation cellular telephone. Okay, so we have the antenna here. So it is a wireless antenna. It is going to be the transceiver. So the antenna switch or the duplexer. So its duplexer will be a switch. It is the kind of antenna switch which will be switching between the receiver and the transmitter. Suppose if whatever we are speaking, that has to be transmitted via the single antenna, the switch will be connected to the transmitter. And whatever, if at all we wanted to, receive the signal that is being from any other person, if we are receiving any call or any data or any, whatever it is, any data, so that switch will be connecting the antenna to the receiver of the RF section. So this is the RF section. As I told you already, there will be two sections here. First one is the RF section, second one is the baseband section, and we have the controller part here. Okay, so these are the internal architecture of a second generation digital cellular telephone. So the antenna is here, and that is connected to the RF section via the that is the duplexer or the switch. So the receiver will be having a low noise amplifier. So whatever signals we have received here, it has to be amplified, removing the noise. So it is we are making use of a low noise amplifier, because the signals we are receiving here, it is in the RF frequency range, that is the radio frequency range, and there will be mixer here if at all any additional signals we wanted to mix. So the DSP part comes here also, so along with the baseband section here. And this frequency synthesizer, it is again used to extract the signals. Okay, and if at all we wanted to transmit the signal, we have to boost up the signal. So we are making use of power amplifier. So at the receiver section, we will be having low noise amplifier for removing noise in the signal that is received. And for the transmitter side, we will be having the power amplifier for boosting up the signal before transmitting via the wireless antenna. Okay, so all this antenna has been miniaturized, and it is of smaller size, and it is inbuilt in the cellular telephone itself. Okay, so this is about the RF section, which is going to act as the transceiver. That is the transmitter, and the receiver section is available here. And coming to the next section, that is the baseband section, it is going to take part in the signal processing functionalities. So whenever a signal is received, so it will be in the analog format. So that will be converted to the digital format, because we are going to make use of the digital signal processing methodologies. So it will be converted to digital signal, and whatever processing we need to perform, that will be done with the help of the DSP processor. And before transmission, we need to convert the digital signals into the analog signals, and that will be transmitted via the antenna here. So we are going to transmit the signals in the form of, that is voice signals here. In this 2G cellular telephones, we didn't have much of features, that is for transmitting data. Only it was used for sending the voice signals, audio signals in the wireless medium. Okay, so that is why we are converting the digital information into the, what is the analog information, and it will be transmitted in the form of the RF signals in the electromagnetic spectrum in the wireless medium. Okay, so here we're not going to talk about the data packets. So whenever if you wanted to use the advanced cellular telephones, talk about advanced cellular telephones, we'll be using in the form of data packets. So in that case, we need not perform this digital to analog conversion before the transmission process. Do you understand? So this is the basic 2G digital cellular telephone, which was used for transmitting the signals for there is audio and the voice signals. Okay, and there will be voice coder, there is the codec part that will be taking care of sending the signals to the speaker, as well as it will be receiving the signals whenever we are speaking over the microphone. And this is the controller part, which will be having the embedded controller, and there will be RAM, ROM, and the flash memories, and the LCD display, and with the keyboard control. Keyboard is also here, that is for type keying the number, whatever you wanted to dial, and the LCD display for displaying it. And all this digital signal processor also will be controlling all these features. Okay, so this is about the detailed architecture of a second generation digital cellular telephone. Okay, this is about the cellular telephone receiver in detail. So there will be a filter. Okay, so this is the receiver part alone. Okay, low noise amplifier will be here. It will be converting the in phase signal and the out of phase signal. So that is the cosine signal that will be converted to out of phase signal. That is quadrature phase signal. This is I signal and Q signal that will be sent to the corresponding low pass filters, and that is fed to the baseband section. So this is nothing but the RF section, which is the receiver unit alone. That will be frequency synthesizer, local oscillator will be here, and that is fed to the digital signal processor, and it is done here. So this is about the digital cellular telephone receiver. So I'm just going to quickly rush up this. So these are all not for much detail. So the same information it's going to be repeated. Okay, whatever the same functionality it is going to perform. Okay, so next this is all about the digital cellular telephone. So next we'll move on to the ISDN, Integrated Services Digital Network. So even though nowadays in the recent days this ISDN is not practically used, it is used at the places where this wireless LANs and other broadband connections are not working. So it is a kind of backup support where the broadband connections are not working. So in such scenarios, they will be making use of this ISDN services. So integrated services digital network. So let us see in detail what is ISDN. So this ISDN is a set of communication standards that is used for simultaneous digital transmission of voice, video, data, and other network services over the traditional circuits of the PSTN, that is the public switch telephone networks. Okay, so the same telephone network, we are going to make use of the same telephone network line for transmitting the voice, video, data, and any other information. Okay, so the same network we will be using. So that is the evolution of this ISDN. Previously, this cellular telephone and the what is that? Other telephone services, they were transmitting only the voice data. Okay, other than voice, they were not transmitting. So adding little more features to that, this voice, video, data will be transmitted via the same PSTN lines, public switch telephone network lines. So that is the evolution of this ISDN. That is Integrated Services Digital Network. So it was first defined in the year 1988 by the company CCITT. So they have set the standard. So what data rate it has to be sent, and what is the distance of coverage, and what are how the protocols that has to be transmitted. So the International Telegraph and the Telephone Consultative Committee have set this standard. Okay. So prior to ISDN, the telephone systems were used only for transmitting the voice, and some of the special services has been added, like sending the data. Also, it integrates some of the speeches as well as data in the same line, and the adding features that are not available in the classic telephone system. So the normal classic telephone system, conventional telephone system, we cannot transmit the data. Okay, as well as some kind of additional in the same line, we cannot add the data, video, and other information, image information. So that is available, that is feasible in case of ISDN. So we have different kinds of interfaces, that is access interfaces. How it is classified means based on the data rate. It is classified as basic rate interface, primary rate interface, narrowband ISDN and broadband ISDN. So it depends upon the application where it is implemented. Okay. And so this is a simple diagram that represents, general diagram that represents the ISDN network. So we can make use of this ISDN services for sending the voice data as well as for sending the data packets. So everything will be transmitted in the digital network. Okay, so here we'll be converting the voice as well as the video, the data in the form of data packets. So digital information is transmitted here. Okay. So this ISDN is nothing but a circuit switched telephone network system. Circuit switched means first physically the source and the destination has to be physically connected. Physical connection should be established via the cable or any wire. So that is called the circuit switching networking. Whereas in case of packet switching, we will be transmitting the data packets. Okay, so it can take any path to reach the destination. Okay, so this ISDN is a circuit switch telephone network system which also provides access to packet switch networks. So as we are sending the data packets, it can also be used for packet switch networks, which means that it offers circuit switched connections for either voice or data and the packet switched connections for the data in the increments of 64 kilobits per second. So everything will be talking in terms of kilobits per second or any bits per second. So that determines the data rate. So based on that, different interfaces are being introduced. So some countries like ISDN found a major market application for internet access. So with that evolution of this ISDN, it is making use of the same telephone line only. This internet access has been evolved in the late, 1990s. So when we were in our college days, only that time we had this internet connections in our country. So and abroad, it was in foreign countries they had in the year 1980s, whereas in 1990s only they introduced this internet access. So we'll be making use of the same telephone line. Okay, same telephone line. Via that there will be a modem connected, and with that we are able to access the internet connection and internet data. So the channel bonding can achieve a greater data rate, and typically the ISDN there is B channels for of 3 and 4 that is the baseband data rates are being there. So and they'll be having a data rate of 6 to 8, that is 64 kilobits per channels. So this is how it is being used. So there will be a frequency allocated for each and every channel, and particular frequency channel will be allocated a specific data rate. So based on that, it is transmitted. So this ISDN is employed as a network, data link, and the physical layers in context to the OSI model. So ISO OSI model, you will be learning it in detail. Different layers are there, how the networks are connected here. So now we were talking about the telephone communications and the telephone networks. Now what if I wanted to connect the data network, that is the data communication and networks, we'll have to talk about this ISO OSI model. So how the different layers are helping in establishing connection between the two devices in a network. So in common use, this ISDN is often limited to the usage of Q.931 and related protocols. Also, some kind of that is the circuit switched connections as far as some advanced calling features are also available in case of this ISDN services. And also we are able to establish there is video conferencing. So many of the companies, if they wanted to talk to the project people and the client, they'll be making use of this video conferencing. Nowadays we have the Zoom tools and so many other applications. Now only it has evolved. So previously they were making use of this ISDN lines for making the video conferencing calls using the same telephone network. Okay, so there is a voice, video, text transmission between the individual desktop and the video conferencing systems, and there will be separate VoIP, that is voice over internet protocol. Okay, there will be separate kind of telephones. Okay, specifically designed for making VoIP calls. Okay, so they will be able to speak as well as they'll be able to see. So there will be camera provision, and so we can speak it live with the people, get connected with the people using the same telephone network. Okay. So this ISDN uses different kinds of standards are there. There is the pulse code modulation techniques and the cosine. As I told you already, this codecs are nothing but we are going to simply perform what is that? Compression. So this compression is nothing but we are going to apply some transform. So this you should always have it in mind. Coding and encoding means it is going to perform some kind of compression standard, and that compression standard, technically speaking, as an electronics engineer, it is something related to DSP. We are just going to apply the transform. So here in this case, this is going to apply the discrete cosine transform for video codecs. So these are the some of the standards H.261 and H.264. And as far as your this what is that MPEG and JPEG data transmission, that is storage of the information, is it not? Normally we store the data, what is that image file as .jpeg format, is it not? And .mpeg in for what is that video information. So these are going to follow H.264, some of the advanced standard of this cosine transforms only. So the H.264 is used. That is the latest standard that is used here in case of your JPEG and the MPEG conversions. So it is just going to perform the compression methods. Okay, so this is all about the ISDN, and some of the elements of this ISDN is that it is going to multiple devices can be attached to the same line, which means that it can take care of whatever communications we want to establish. If you want to send the data, voice, video, fax over a single line, everything is possible with the help of this ISDN services. Okay, and coming to the basic, there is a basic rate interface. So this is the data rate. So it is going to be, what is it, 144 kilobits per second. The B channels will be used. So there will be two channels, B channels and the D channels. Okay, so these are some of sometimes referred to as two B channels and one D channel. So that is the baseband channel, bearer channel, and D is the data channel. So bearer channel, it is going to carry the voice information. D channel is going to carry the data information. So this many data rates are being allocated for the, what is that, interface connection following basic rate interface, that is BRI. And this is about the user interface. So different standards are there, so I'm not going to talk much here. So this are all the general information, the network termination, how you have to terminate via the modem, and everything is being given here. And coming to the, what is that primary rate interface, this is the standard. So the T1 will be the carrier, and the E will be the carrier, E1 will be the another carrier that will be making use of the different channels. And it is going to have 30, that is E1, it is going to have 30 bearer channels and one data channel. So the scheme often it is referred to as 30B plus 2D, 30 for bearer channels and 2 for the data channels. So this is the, so accordingly the data rate will be varying. And these are the some of the features of this primary rate interface. And I'm just quickly rushing up because I need to conduct. So this is all about the ISDN. Okay. So now let's have a quick recap of whatever the topics we have covered in unit number 1. So we have started with the introduction to telephones, standard telephone and the local loop, the electronics telephone in detail. All these things we have learned in detail about the internal circuit diagram, architecture, its functionality, and everything in detail. And the cordless telephones, and based on the, that is the Bosch functions, that is SLIC connection, subscriber line interface connections, and that is followed by the telephone facsimile, the fax operation in detail, and that is followed by the paging systems, and finally the cellular telephone and digital cellular telephone as an example of a second generation cellular telephone architecture in detail. And finally, in today's class, we have learned about ISDN. So these are the topics that is covered in unit number 1, that is under the heading telephone communication. So we have come to the end of the first unit, and to have a practice of whatever topics we have covered, let's go to the quiz, practice quiz. So this quiz is important because it is considered for your continuous assessment examination 1. Okay, so some kind of weightage marks is there. So I want each and every one of you to participate in the Kahoot app quiz that is conducted here. It is going to be the practice quiz. Do you have any doubts? the topics covered so far. You can unmute yourself and raise the queries. So now I hope you have understood all the concepts in from first unit. Can we go ahead with the quiz?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, we go ahead with the quiz. So, are you able to see the screen? Yes. Okay. So, I want every one of you to participate in this quiz. Same questions might be asked, which we have already had a practice. Are you able to see my screen? You just type in kahoot.it, www.kahoot.it, and give the game name. Okay, we can start. Lock on. Okay, we'll start. This is your first question. Up. Still people are giving wrong answers. Dual tone, multi-frequency. Next question. PSTN. Public switch telephone networks. So the same questions only I'm repeating, nothing new. Local access and transport area. 63 people have given the correct answer. So what is a LATA? L-A-T-A, local. Okay, a local calling area. Local loops terminate at Okay. Local loops terminate at central office. So for the people who have made mistake, please do correct the answers. Okay. Local loops terminate at a central office. That is nothing but the telephone exchange. In telephony, POP stands for point of presence. Okay, so that comes under that standard telephones. Okay. So the protocol that is used in the signaling network is called. This we had already learned. Correct answer is signaling system 7, SS7. Okay, the protocol that is used in the signaling network is called as SS7, signaling system 7. A cordless telephone using the separate frequencies for transmission in the base and the portable unit is called to be, what kind of arrangement is that? So it is going to be duplex arrangement. Which of the following is the drawback of cordless telephones? So practically you should know as we are using it in our home. Because of the limited coverage. Okay. The cable used for local loops is mainly twisted pair of copper wires. That is going to be the local loops. Okay. What is the shape of the cell present in the cellular system? Yesterday we have discussed the cellular telephones. What is the shape of the cell? Your time is up. Yes, it is going to be the hexagonal shell. So we have seen that honeycomb kind of a structure. So all the cells will be divided in the form of a shape of a hexagon. So which one of the following is an example of a local wireless system which is used for shorter distance? Local wireless system which is used for shorter distance. Shorter distance in the sense you should have it in mind. Yeah, this is going to be cordless telephone system. Many people have left the session. Why? Only 174 students are here. ISDN is based on the concept of the same signaling concept. Signaling system. Yeah, 43 people have answered it correctly. It is going to be SS7. What is handoff? Whether it is going to be a forward channel or switching technique, Roman or God channel. Going to be the switching technique. It is switching from the weaker cell to the stronger cell. What is frequency reuse? Is it a process of selecting and allocating channels, or a process of selecting the frequency of mobile equipment, or the process of selection of mobile users, or the process of selection of number of cells? Yes, it is going to be the process of selecting and allocating the channels, frequency reuse. Okay, only the condition is that the neighboring channels should not, neighboring cells should not have the same frequency. The process of transferring a mobile station from one base station to another base station. Please type your answer here. It is something we discussed earlier, previous questions. Previous but one question. The process of transferring the mobile station from one base station to another is. You have to type your answer here. Let's see how many of you are typing. It is not an objective type question. You have to type the answer. Only 39 people have typed. Now let us see the answers. Yes. How many of? Only 2 people have answered it correctly. Hand off. A local telephone network is an example of a, whether it is going to be a circuit switched or packet switched. Circuit switched means physically it will be connected by means of wires. And the connection will be established. Now let us see how many of you are answering it correctly. Yeah, it is circuit switched. A local telephone network is an example of a circuit switched network. Data from a computer or what type of signal it is, and the local loop handles what type of signals. Data from the computer or either analog or digital. The local loop handles what type of signals, analog or digital. Yeah, it is going to be digital. The computer data, it is going to be digital, and the local loop handles analog signals, that is the voice signals. Okay. The modern telephone network is now digital or analog or both. Next, we'll quickly move on to the next question. Only 4 more questions are there. The term modem is a composite word that refers to the two functionalities that make up the device. It is going to be a signal. What is that? Modem. The term modem is evolved. Yes, it is going to be modulator and demodulator. So the name has been given modem. Okay. Handles the inter-LATA services is called between the LATA services. This we have already seen the diagram. It is going to be IXC. So the integrated exchange circuits. Identify the missing part in the electronic telephone circuit. The part is missing here. Identify the circuit. Out of the 4, which is going to be the circuit here. Find the missing part. Yes, it is going to be the circuit, the bridge rectifier circuit, which is connected to the tip and the ring. And the hook switch connection is here. I hope you remember all these circuits. Very good. 3 more questions to go. Why the shape of the cell is not circle? It is hexagonal in shape. As we have mentioned already, it is hexagonal in shape. What is the reason? The reason is going to be omnidirectionality or smaller area or overlapping regions or gaps are left, not the complex design. What is the reason for having a hexagonal shape for cellular communication? Yes, the correct answer is the overlapping regions and gaps are left. That is why we go for the hexagonal shape of the cells rather than the circle shape. Only 2 more questions. Please wait for a few more minutes. Okay. The cellular concept replaces there is a low power transmitters to single high power transmitter. True or false? What is the basic concept of cellular? It is converting low power transmitters to high power transmitters. Is it right? Yes, it is false. So the basic concept of cellular communication is converting the high power transmitters to low power transmitters. That is why we have so many regions, is it not? So many cells will be created, there is a base stations will be created, which will be having the high power transmitters to low power transmitters. So that is the intentions, because the estimation cost and the installation of the high power transmitters will be high. Okay, so the correct answer is the cellular concepts are used for that is high power transmitters to low power transmitters. Only few of them have answered. Why neighboring stations are assigned different group of channels in the cellular system? So I think this most of you would answer. That is the last question for the day. So the correct answer is to minimize interference. That is why there is a neighboring stations are assigned different group of channels, which means that different frequencies are allocated. Neighboring stations are allocated different frequencies. That is the reason. Now, so that's all from my side. So that is the end of first unit, and the second unit will be taken by Mr. Madan, who is an assistant professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, and also he is one of the counselors for A section, I suppose. Yes. Okay. I'll take a leave from you. Bye bye, and we'll meet you in the third unit. Okay. See you then.